This is where you make your money as a therapist. But for somebody that we talk football so much, and I know you don't like to gamble, and you never gamble. I know that, Tyler. But uh, last night, I consider myself. I've always gambled. I consider myself. I know a little bit about football. I actually invested last night in the Las Vegas Raiders, and yes, I did. Yep, 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 yep. Put money on. Oh, yes,
Why
exactly.
though?
Why?
What's the
So
what's the
the
logic? I don't
logic
see
is
talking
amazing. The
yourself
logic is amazing.
into
Mm-hmm.
that team right
Mm-hmm.
now.
Yep. There's not one thing that makes you say you should take the Raiders, other than when you see the point spread is at 3.5. How? Like, why is it so low? Not budging off that half point, which in gambling, that half point, you see that 3.5, that's a big point, that half point. So that thing didn't go up to 4. So there wasn't enough money coming in on Dallas. It didn't go down to 3. So I'm thinking, okay, there's even money. There's people taking the Raiders. Why not? I had a good Sunday. I was feeling pretty good about things. So really feeling yourself, say it with your chest. I took Geno and Jeanty. I went with the worst law
And then
firm.
they made your chest hurt like Ryan Poles watching that Drake May
The
film.
worst law firm in the country is Geno and Jeanty. I hired them last night, and I got zero effort. Now, the part of that problem is that maniac Pete Carroll they have wrestling all the players all the time during warm-ups with his oversized gloves and gum chewing, and it's enough. Pete needs to go home. He could have gone home when he wouldn't let me off the elevator years ago at the combine, but that's okay. We got through that. They were the champs. He can walk in first.
Can you
For
retell that
everybody didn't
story? We've
know,
got a lot of new viewers, listeners. Please.
elevator etiquette, I think we all know at the combine especially, but everybody uses the same stuff at the combine. You usually let people off. Pete Carroll and his assistant walked onto the elevator before I got off. Early morning at the combine, we all know we're not feeling the best. Just seemed a little aggressive. But I said, hey, you're the champ, coach. I get it. And you know what? He had a great run. He's a great coach. All the history, that says it for itself. But it's
Terrible elevator
terrible
etiquette.
elevator etiquette and worse etiquette.
Says everything you need to know about
What
Pete
about his
Carroll
gum
right
chewing,
there.
though? That gum chewing to me on
Out
the
of control.
sideline is obnoxious. And that's rude. He wrestles players before.
I mean, my wife, who knows nothing about football, I mean, she doesn't know a first down from a second down, can't stand Pete Carroll and the gum chewing. I turned the game on last night and she goes, he's still coaching? And all she knows Pete Carroll for is how he chews gum on a sideline. That's it. That's it.
That says it. That's perfect. That backs up everything. But I laugh because you in golf, when everybody golfs, all the meatballs, that we all go, everybody leaves their wives. Hey, I'm going to golf with my friends. They all give themselves a mulligan, which I love. We don't do that in basketball. Like if you miss your first shot in basketball, when you start, you miss your first shot. Never understood that in golf. You get a mulligan. John Spytek, the GM for the Las Vegas Raiders. We should officially, everybody. You know what, John? First time GM, you get a mulligan. I mean, you come in and you get a chance to hire a coach, draft or sign a quarterback, and you have a top 10 pick. And you do Pete Carroll, known can't coach at this point. Geno Smith, a known good backup in the NFL, not a starter. And this Jeanty, I mean, we talked about it, but you tell me. I mean, that's 3 yards of carry. That's all I see. I see a bowling ball tough back. Get him anywhere. That's 3. That's 0 for 3. I mean, really, that mulligan, you get one of those back maybe. Cut one and sign somebody. But that is one of probably the most horrendous starts to a GM career you could have. He would be the Nathaniel Hackett maybe of the coaching world, Spytek right now. That is a way to make your mark. Historically ridiculous head coach, quarterback, and top 10 pick. All right, enough.
I don't get it. Like when you're taking over your own NFL franchise, what an opportunity. You probably know Spy
Yeah.
Tech
I don't know him
better
that
than
well. I know
most
John
just
to
from the
say hi. And
scouting
I know
trail.
obviously he's Tom Brady. He and Tom Brady went to college. It's probably why Brady went to Tampa. Spytek got him there with Jason Light, who drafted him, which was part of the Patriots staff when Brady was drafted. But I think Spytek being on that staff helped convince Brady to get out of there. That's the behind the scenes stuff I'm sure went down. But guess who's the owner now in Vegas? Oh, Tom Brady. Guess who's the GM? Oh, Spytek. Boom.
Pewaukee, Wisconsin native, Waukesha High School, or went to Catholic Memorial in Waukesha. So he does have those Wisconsin roots. He was an intern with the Eagles in 2005.
So
How long
there
were
you go. The good question. I had just left Philly to go to New Orleans.
Okay.
So I knew John came in, scouting world, we all know each other, we all talk. I was on the road with John plenty. I mean, he's good. He's like I said, I thought he'd be a good GM. I mean, I know he worked his way up. I respect Tampa. I think they're one of the best drafting teams every year. Jason Light does an amazing job. And Rob, to your point, you spent time with. Rob's been there for a long time. So I had a ton of respect for that Tampa, what they've done.
Oh, totally. I
But
love their process, and we got into it with Rob, and there'll be more when we have this piece on Baker Mayfield coming out at some point. My point is, okay, so you go. I mean, he put in his time,
yeah,
like you. We're talking. So it starts in '04 actually with the Lions operations intern, and then he goes to the Eagles, college scouting assistant, college pro scout with the Eagles up to 2009, director of college scouting with the Browns 2010 to 2012, Southwest area scout with the Broncos in 2013, promoted a national scout with the Broncos 2014, 2015, wins a ring in 2015, and then he goes to Tampa, and he's in Tampa from 2016 to 2024, moving his way up, director of player personnel, VP of player personnel, assistant GM those final 2 seasons. And you look at their drafts, you look at their decisions. That was a team in salary cap hell post Tom Brady, written off by everybody. That's what was kind of interesting talking to Rob McCartney about Baker Mayfield. He's like, well, we didn't have many options. They didn't. And it was kind of luck and opportunity met where you bring in Baker on the cheap. He's looking to resurrect his career, competing with Kyle Trask. And, now they're a perennial playoff team. My point is this, and it's more of a question for you, Jim. You put in that kind of time, year to year, team to team, you're able to just construct in your mind what you want your team to look like one day. What compels you to hire the oldest coach in NFL history? That's Pete Carroll. No, nobody's been this old on a sideline than Pete Carroll.
I don't know.
And then to rush into Geno Smith, which, hey, guilty as charged. Like I remember praising the move. It seemed like he had a little juice in that arm, but I would think of John Spytek knows more than me down those lines, like you. But Carol, like what compels you to? All right, we're gonna build from the ground up because you're not winning a Super Bowl anytime soon with Patrick Mahomes in that division, with Sean Payton and the Broncos, John Harbaugh and the Chargers. If I'm the Raiders, I'm playing a different game. Like I'm not trying to play in the same arena as these other three teams. I'm not trying to win in 2025. I'm doing whatever I can to win in 2026, 27, 28. And everything was just kind of like thrown together in one off season. We're going for it. I don't get it.
I I'm with you. There's so many questions I would have. The first to spy tech would be, what was your list? Like, what was your, obviously when you're getting interviewed, it's what's the game plan? How are we going to turn this thing around? We had to do that with the Pagulas. After that season, before we hired Sean, they were really deciding if they wanted to keep Doug Whaley and myself to see if we had a plan. I think once they saw that we had a plan in place, it was structured. We had a plan. It actually worked out, not for us, but we got a good coach, and we ended up getting the ammo we wanted for that next draft. And the game plan was correct. And I think it gave the Pagulas confidence to at least let us be a part of hiring Sean. Um, this one is, to me, just seems like Spytek and Brady were like, let's get a veteran coach, maybe your first time GM. There's no quarterbacks on like Brady. You would think Spytek comes with, like, Geno's weakness is mental decision making. We know he has a good arm. He's had a good arm at West Virginia. There's a reason he's never been a good starter. He makes terrible decisions. He's not always accurate, and you can't win with that. That's simple. That's been laid out. So to think you're going to change it, that's crazy. And then top 10 and a deep running back draft. Obviously, it's a good running back draft. You took Jeanty, who looks like a dime a dozen. Now, here I am, lesson learned. We traded up for Sammy Watkins. And Tyler, I've said it on this show, that was not a good decision. Terry Pagula said it was the wrong decision when he took over as owner to us. And he was correct. Trading up for Sammy was the wrong move because he was not clearly the best wideout in that draft. I mean, that's to me, and Jeanty is not the best running back in this draft. I think we've seen 2 or 3 rookies this year
Mm,
that have caught our attention. So obviously you can argue it, but that to draft a running back that high, that should be a no debate. Like he should be the guy, Adrian Peterson
yeah.
style. So I this one,
Outside of the
yeah,
one
sorry,
six,
no,
I'm sorry,
I'm
Jim. Go
done.
ahead.
I was just more. I don't get any of this, Tyler. Like it really seems unprepared, poor evaluations. Um, that's what it is. I mean, at the end of the day, who's at fault? It won't matter. Pete Carroll will be the fall guy, almost like David Culley in Houston. Remember that? How they just did Culley like that? They may have done Pete Carroll
Yeah,
like this. He might Pete Carroll and David Culley.
it's gonna get
PKK
Collied.
Culley.
And I do like the idea of hiring somebody who was a
Mhm.
head coach before. I think there is a lot of value in having a vision. Mike Vrabel with the Patriots, um, but there's a difference in a younger Mike Vrabel who connects in a
Yeah,
way that maybe Pete Carroll connected in 2010, 11, and 12 in that kind of NFL. The NFL has changed so much since then. Like maybe he's thinking he's going to build his own Legion of Boom, run the ball with Jeanty, work off of that with Geno Smith. It's like, but the roster is just, it's littered with terrible decisions. I mean, Ashton Jeanty, outside of that one 64-yard run against the Bears, a game that they absolutely blew. A lot of teams tend to
against
do
the
that against
Bears.
the Bears this
Yes,
year. His longest run this year is 18 yards. And we were told this was generational, transcendent, running around in that blue field in Boise State. Good luck to the next playmaker out of Boise State who wants to get drafted in the first round. He just looks like a plotting, disgruntled. I mean, a few games into his career, he's bitching about not getting the ball enough. Rookie who just isn't good. He doesn't look good. It's not going to just turn on for Ashton Jeanty. And then you look at the defense, Jim. My word, it's God bless him. Great chat with Jamal Adams last season for a Q&A go along when he was in Detroit. He was one of those northern savages that Dan Campbell was bringing in like just to field a roster. But there's a reason that Dan Campbell, and we can get into Campbell later. I want to have this conversation. But there's a reason in that Green Bay primetime game, right? He gave that speech. I think it might have been on a mid-season Hard Knocks doc, or we're going to go for it on fourth down every single time. I understood it then when you're filling out a roster with, you know, Jamal Adams giving you a dozen snaps, and he's a bruiser. He's everything football should be. Love his style of play, but should he really be playing as many snaps? I mean, look, I'm going to pull up their depth chart here because just watching that game last night, I'm like, what? He's playing for this team? I mean, Devin White,
so
awesome in the Super Bowl against Mahomes, completely
now
flamed out.
here's where,
Jamal
Tyler, one thing I
Adams,
should say though, and here's where we, if we're gonna, now this is giving them a lot of credit what I'm about to say, but is there a plan in place that they think, hey, we did this to get through, we have the running back, Genty's going to be the guy, but we needed a gap year with Pete Carroll and Geno just to get us kind of see where we're at, shake things out. Let's see where we're at. Salary cap, draft picks. Maybe there's a guy they really want, so they weren't worried about. I just don't see Pete Carroll come out of like what he's doing at his age to come out and just coach for a year just to get beat on. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm trying to be nice, thinking they may have had a plan, but go ahead. Yeah,
Eric Stokes is another
yeah,
one.
yeah.
Stone
They're just
hands. I mean, that was the case for him
yeah,
at college, Green Bay. Dropped a pick against the Bears earlier this season. He's
just
getting
cast
burnt
offs,
last
cast
night.
offs.
And Landon Roberts, yeah, total cast offs. You feel bad for Max Crosby, sort of like Miles Garrett in Cleveland, which I mean, when Miles Garrett had 4 sacks against the Ravens, it
Every
doesn't
week.
matter. You pay these guys 40-50 million a year, and they'll earn it. They'll be the best at what they
Cle-
do, but it doesn't matter at
Cleveland's
all.
famous
Bottom
Joe
line.
Thomas, best never could make playoffs. Best left tackle. Now they have the best defensive end. Can't make the playoffs.
So it really does come down to the quarterback
That's it.
evaluation of
Yeah,
Geno Smith. I mean, John Schneider, we gave him his flowers a couple pods ago for good reason.
still in.
He knew it was time
Mm-hmm.
to move off of Geno Smith. And he's one of those beloved quarterbacks on social media. There's a handful of those guys where the right film junkies get your hands on you, they'll find that one clip.
I mean, he
And
was in the same draft class as EJ Manuel. I can't stress that enough. It's not like he's young. Like we know what Geno Smith is. You don't have to guess. He's a journeyman who's going to give you some really good games. You're not winning a Super Bowl, Geno Smith. Come on.
more interceptions than touchdowns this season. 12 TDs, 13 picks. He's only had 2 games this season where he hasn't thrown an interception.
Can't play that way.
Does anybody care
No,
about the Raiders?
I do because
Like, how would you even describe their fan
I
base?
do because they play in Vegas. I'm jealous of SpyTech.
You're telling me that you'd rather live in Vegas than Western New York,
GM,
Jim?
I would have to think GM for the Vegas Raiders would be. I'd feel pretty good about that.
For the latest and greatest in football journalism, subscribe at golongtd.com.